on Liberia. Yeah. From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, over me hills to Boakai, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Reliable information. History. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Ja.
And I am Anthony C.A. Welcome to Focus on Liberia. A pleasant welcome, by the way. I can't say thank you enough for joining this broadcast. The nation Liberia remains the focus. And that focus, it will remain until we are out of what is actually a difficult place. And that is why we are focused on Liberia. We can get out of this difficult place through education, through leadership, and not just any other leadership, a transformative leadership that is bold, that knows what to do and how to do it, a kind of leadership that will not do business as usual, a kind of leadership that will be intentional, a kind of leadership that will engage the world, especially development partners. For we need them. But if there is anything that we need the most, we need ourselves the most. But we have a big problem. And the problem is we don't see ourselves. We don't even know ourselves in the true sense of leadership to move our country forward. Our leaders do not know and understand that opportunity that they have to be leaders of our country, granting them access to opportunities across the globe, granting them access to development partners, giving them the platform to access investment capital that is in trillions, and looking for places to invest. Our leaders have not made the significant investment that we need as a country to attract investors, development partners, the money that we need. Our leaders are yet to see it. Our leaders consistently settle for minimalism, meaning small thing, the bare minimum. A new administration is elected. Hopes are in the roof. And we are having expectations that change has finally come. And the next thing you know, that change resembles far more that which we rejected. How can we change that? And in the words of President Joseph Boakai, we change that by not doing business as usual. I could not agree more. So, when we want to develop the nation Liberia, as we must, that is the responsibility that is given to us as a nation and the people, that this piece of land that we occupy, we must make good use of it. And that we have a responsibility to our fellow citizens, that we lead as leaders to improve their human conditions, to meeting their social well-being. So, one of the ways we can do that is by doing business with the people they call development partners. And so we have a topic. President Boakai should not do business as usual with development partners. So now your question is, but Anthony, what is the business as usual that we have been doing as a country through our leaders with the development partners that you're talking about? I know that business as usual that our leaders have consistently engaged in, which have been a failed approach, not strategic enough, that got us to be in a very difficult place, irrespective of the tremendous goodwill out there. You're talking money, we may not have the money, but those who have the money are looking for opportunities. They are looking for programs. They are looking for places. They are looking for sectors where they can commit these resources so that as they benefit, those who have interest in tapping into the resources can too benefit. A mutual dividend for all the parties involved in achieving what is their ultimate goal. As a nation, our goal is to improve the human and the material conditions of our people and develop the nation called Liberia. We cannot do that without making the necessary investment. To make the investment, we must find the money. To find the money, we must put our horse in order. And this is where our leaders have failed consistently. They are yet to demonstrate the needed vision, the boldness, the tenacity, the fortitude, and the courage to do what is required to develop this tiny nation called Liberia with a population far less than 6 million. We should not be suffering the way we have been. And the reason we have been suffering is because our leaders have no severe understanding, not the word I want to use, have no profound understanding of this platform they have, this opportunity, the power that we have given them, for which a Liberian leader can get on a plane today and sit with people who possess tremendous wealth, cash, and want to invest in things that they care about, that we have. So, doing business as usual has got us this far in this difficult place. No business as usual will get us out of this difficult place. Now, I think I have given you a unique sense of the topic. So let me answer the bigger question now. What has been business as usual with development partners? For we are where we are and have failed consistently to make the significant investment through programs into infrastructural projects. We're talking about massive, bold, and significant investment that will transform our country. Look, why are we not having investors coming in our country? Many reasons why. Number one, we have not made investment into our roads. And so the issue of transportation, movement in the country is a challenge. And when you have this serious nightmare, there is no way you can make progress. So to change that, you must make the necessary investment in infrastructure. It's key. If you must get to Grand Crew, you need to travel a road that is safe and that you will get there in time, so that an institution or a business that has interest in doing business in Grand Crew can get to Grand Crew. And that is how investment will reach the people of Grand Crew. The same can be said about all the counties. So how long are we going to cry for roads to be built in Liberia, and we have not found a way, and the only way we know how is to beg a World Bank to commit few millions of dollars to a road project in Liberia? And in the last 20 years, all the development partners put together, what they have contributed to build roads in Liberia, if we stay on their course, it will take us the next 60 years and we will not complete paving all our roads in Liberia. This is a failed approach and a failed approach to paving our roads in Liberia. So what do? We tap into the goodwill that is out there by developing projects and programs and selling these ideas of how we can develop our country and change it to those who are willing to commit the resources to them. And we have to also tell them how we're going to pay back in instances where we have to pay back. Now, let me make it clear to you here. Some of us are blessed to be in the Western world. A Liberian citizen from a town of Butuo gets approved from a bank in the United States for a mortgage of 500,000 United States dollars. That person at the bank who approves that loan does not know this person from Butuo. They don't even want to know where he's from. There are specific things they are looking at. They are looking at the person's creditworthiness, the person's debt to income ratio, the person's ability to pay, and the person's history of paying back whenever they credit. The creditworthiness of that individual from Butuo. The one who verifies the information and approves that $500,000 loan at a bank does not talk to the one who is asking for that loan. No. The application is received by an agent at the bank. He submits all the requirements. The one who does the approval verifies the information without talking to that person. They check if the person has an income, and if that income is enough to make that payment. They check to see if the person has a good payment history, and if that person is in good standing in terms of credit, and that loan is approved for the guy from Butuo living in the United States, a Western nation, and the guy from Butuo gets the loan. And now he has a house befitting his family. He does not stop there. Now I have a good home. I need a reliable transportation for my family, a car that we can sit in and be safe. He goes to that very bank and applies for, say, a $25,000 loan to get an SUV for his family. The same process is being applied. They look at his income, his credit rating, debt to income ratio, ability to pay, payment history, and then they approve that loan again for that same person. As much as that person is making his payment, his family has a home and a reliable transportation, and they are living comfortably. That person does not have $500,000 to buy a house cash down, but now has a house value at $500,000. That person did not have $25,000 to pay cash down for a car. But because the person meets the requirement, the person was able to tap into the resources available at the commercial bank to give his family a befitting life deserving of them as humans. I'm saying to you, if only our leaders would do all that is required, we will get all the money that we need. And once we demonstrate that we are creditworthy, that we are credible, that we can pay back, we will get whatever funding we need to make the necessary investment into the nation Liberia or in the nation Liberia. How could this guy from Butuo get a $500,000 loan and be approved by someone who does not know him? The bank does not know this person. They don't know where he comes from. They are doing business. The banks benefit. The person benefits by gaining a befitting home for his family and a reliable transportation. The bank makes profit. The bank is happy. This person is happy. Life is good. Hello? So here is the deal. We need to find a way to make sure as a country we source the necessary funding to invest in critical infrastructures in our nation. In Liberia today, we don't have reliable electricity. That is a big problem that we have had over the years. 20 years plus after the war, we have not been able to solve it. This is the third administration since the war ended. Internet is a flop in our country. We don't even have safe drinking water that is available just in Moravia. I'm not talking about the whole country. Now, the people that should be doing the work in Liberia are Zogos today. What is the investment? What is the program our government has come up with? What is the program? How do you market this program to people who have money to invest? If you're seeking grant, what is the program that you have crafted as a nation that you are selling to source funding to change and rescue the situation with drugs addiction in Liberia? Where is it? Now, I will do something for you to understand here. There is so much capital out there. People who have money are looking for places to invest. Banks are looking for people to give loans to. You must be qualified to apply, and then you will get it. What is Liberia doing to attract investment in Liberia? What are our leaders doing? Are they doing their back? Are they doing their homework? Yesterday, Namwe was having a terrible credit. He couldn't pay on time. He had debts here and there he couldn't pay. Namwe now enter a program to pay his debt off and straighten out his credit. Namwe painfully, Namwe decided to go into that. Namwe reduced the amount he was spending on beer. He reduced the amount he was spending on cigarette. And Namwe committed to paying his debt. 2 years later, Namwe paid off his debt. Namwe now has a good credit. The very Namwe who was denied yesterday is now approved today. Can Liberia do that? Can our leaders do that? I'm trying to make this thing practical. Look, let me tell you the tremendous good way that is out there. And my emphasis will be merely on the United States of America. This government has a tremendous goodwill out there. We are supposed to be the traditional ally, they say, friend, they say, of America. And so how has it become so difficult to get the kind of money we need to improve our country? Have our leaders asked in a more responsible way? There are ways to doing things. Like the example with the loan I gave. There's a way to apply. You must be qualified. You must meet the requirement. These things are written down, clear cut. And the people follow the law, or they follow what is written, the regulations, the procedures, the requirements. You must meet them to be qualified. Nothing else. It's not magic. Our leaders will come and sit around, and they don't come to tell the people what the programs are, what our needs are, what kind of money we need, how we use the money, how the money will benefit us. If that money have to pay back, how we'll pay back. Our leaders are not communicating these things. Now, if you want to know what is God talking about, let me bring you some information here quickly. And the emphasis is going to be on the U.S. government. All right. In 2003, the United States government invested $82 million in new digital infrastructure projects and technical programs for Africa alone. $82 million. They have set aside and said, look, we're going to spend $82 million on new digital infrastructure. Does Liberia as a country have a plan to transform Liberia digitally or through digital infrastructure? What is our plan? There's a gentleman called Dr. Lionel Bernard. He's a Liberian citizen in the Washington, D.C. area. I believe his PhD is in technology. This is an area. This man is one of the gurus when it comes to technology in Washington, D.C., a Liberian citizen with expertise in the area of telecommunication and internet and all that. There was a study, according to him, that was done during Ellen Johnson's earlier administration that about $60 million could build an internet grid for Liberia. So, did Liberia as a country take that serious? And he also said that institutions like Google could even make that money available because Google knows that it will or she will benefit. Because when internet becomes available in your country, the young people having access to that internet will increase Google reach. And so a company like Google alone, you could source that $60 million, and now Google will be able to reach in new markets, especially in Africa. And you want your Liberia to be the one making that investment or sourcing that kind of investment by crafting a plan when it comes to building digital infrastructure that will connect Liberia to the outside world. And now, because of access to reliable internet, even if an institution that is in business will not go to Liberia, they can still do business in Liberia. And Liberians can get higher wire in Liberia and start earning income. Job creation right there. That's just one. Now, the United States has also contributed $155 million to the Global Agriculture and Food Security Program. So the U.S. government has a program on food security. There's money available. Does Liberia have a food security program? And is Liberia looking for money to solve the issue of food insecurity in Liberia? If Liberia does, because I read something of that in the President's 100 deliverable plan, how do they intend to fund that program? Once you have it, you tap into the available programs of the U.S. government or any other donor partner, come up with a plan of how you're going to reduce food insecurity in Liberia, reach out to them, come up with your own amount as to how much you will need to reduce food security in Liberia, how you will do it, how long it will take to reduce food insecurity in Liberia. Tell me if you come up with that plan and you go in, engage the individuals. Who have programs or funding for this critical sector. Hold on, folks. Okay, he's gone. Somebody is calling me. Dennis, if you watching, can you call Jerry? He's calling me over and over. It got to be something. I'm doing my presentation here. So, can the Liberian government reach out to the U.S. government that has a program intended? I mean, they have funding available to reduce food insecurity in Liberia. We need to do that. That's just one. Now, in 2023, the U.S. government funded more than $300 million in proposals to support food system and smallholder farmers, largely benefiting African countries. $300 million. $300 million. So it means that when it comes to proposals to support full system for small farmers and other people in the agricultural sectors, the U.S. government has funding available. How are we tapping into that funding? What is the program that we have to attract that funding to our nation? The United States has provided over $17.2 billion in full security assistance since the beginning of the Biden administration. Did you hear me? $17.2 billion is what the U.S. government has been spending since Joe Biden administration to help with food insecurity, mainly in Africa. How do our leaders of today intend to engage this development partner called the United States to help with food insecurity in Liberia? A population of less than 6 million is going through hunger in a country that has vast land, water. It's not a desert. What are we doing? Tremendous goodwill out there, money available out there, but we don't even know what to do. It's obvious. Now, in May of 2023, just last year, the Biden administration chose Africa for the first and flagship economic corridor under his signature in the amount of $600 billion. Hello? $600 billion partnership. For what? Global Infrastructure and Investment Initiative. This is the biggest. So the U.S. government has a program they call Global Infrastructure Initiative. Global Infrastructure Initiative. And they set aside $600 billion. I'll open my mouth wide so you can hear. $600 billion. The U.S. government set aside for a program that the U.S. government has that they call Global Infrastructure Investment Initiative. When we're talking about infrastructures, we're talking about roads, which include your bridges. We're talking about your seaports. We're talking about your airports. We're talking about the provision of electricity, the supply of power. We need money. We're talking about providing clean water for our citizens. I don't know when last they built that or whatever water system we have in the country there. I don't know when last that was built. It does not even supply Monrovia adequately, let alone the whole country. This is the U.S. government that has available $600 billion for what they call Global Infrastructure Development Initiative. Hello? And we are suffering for roads in our country. Our leaders are yet to even see for, say, a road construction company to survey the entire nation and give us an estimate of how we can connect all our counties by paved road to include the building of the bridges, come up with that figure, and a Liberian president now buying plane tickets, coming to the United States and engaging this development partner that, look, we are aware of your Global Infrastructure Investment Initiative program. As a country, we have a deficit, chronic deficit when it comes to infrastructure in our country. We don't have roads, none whatsoever. And this has kept us behind for far too long. We are seeking $100 billion. We're seeking $100 billion. And we have already done our homework. We have contracted a road construction firm that has done an assessment and has given out an estimate and said that it will cost us this month to build our infrastructure in our country when we build this infrastructure or these infrastructures, the capacity for our country will increase. We will be able to generate significant revenue now. That revenue will help us to fund our schools, to fund our government, to fund these programs, and will give us even the capacity to be able to pay back this money we are taking from you. And so this is what we want. And when you can provide us this money for the construction of the infrastructure project that we desperately need, this is how we're going to pay back your money. Let them say no. At least you have done the right thing for your country. We don't have cash money sitting in us. Other nations have the money. And the U.S. government that we have been a friend of for all these years, 100 plus years, 170 years plus, is the one that is sitting on the pot of cash. If not, that has the ability to make the kind of funding available. How have our leaders been engaging the United States? Our president just attended a U.S. African summit, and he has returned. What did he communicate to the leaders that he met at that summit? Did he come with a plan for Liberia? How much it would cost? How that plan would be implemented? How it would change Liberia? If that money to credit, how will pay back? Is our government even thinking about putting its costs in order to make Liberia credit worthy? Fighting corruption, our leaders do not have the balls to fight corruption. We have a new administration now that raised the hopes of Liberians, propagated this message of coming to fight corruption tooth and nail. And where before this government could be inaugurated, it had engaged in questionable dealings. The facts are here. So how will you even be trusted? Funds for inauguration, allegations of corruption all over the place. There has now been a conclusive investigation on that. Now, funds have been made available for assets recovery team established by an executive order by the office of the president. Members of that assets recovery team are complaining that there is zero corruption. This is an institution that was established to fight corruption and retrieve fundings and properties of government allegedly stolen. But it has engaged in the very act it's being established to fight. And not a single word from the president yet. It is reported that 300,000+ United States dollars be spent already, merely to procure an office space. You're talking about almost $90,000 for billboards. You bring the billboard, you put it up on the highway or along the road. Is that why we're going to retrieve money that's been hailing allegedly by those who abuse public trust? How is a development partner who want to commit resources to any program, want to commit any significant amount to our country, when few dollars have been stolen, no accountability, no righteous indignation from the leader whatsoever? But let me continue to give you an idea of the goodwill that we are not tapping into. In September of 2003, the MCC signed a $500 million compact program for Mozambique. Hello? Not Mozambique, but yeah, Mozambique. Mozambique to provide coastal reliance and improve public services and transportation infrastructure in the country. Mozambique. Hello, when we're talking global politics, when we're talking diplomatic relationships, where is Mozambique with the United States versus Liberia, historically speaking, in terms of the historical politics of these nations? Liberia and U.S. on one hand, and Mozambique and the United States on another hand. But this is a Mozambique now that nets a $500 million for investment into critical infrastructure in its country. Where is Liberia? They must have done the right thing. So the U.S. government has said, oh, well, we are Liberia, and you look at our history, so we'll give the money to Liberia. No. They gave that amount to Mozambique because Mozambique did what one must do to be able to win some funding for the kind of infrastructure that needed. Just as the guy from Butu did the right thing and got a $500,000 loan for his house. And his family rests in a mansion today. We are languishing on barrows. Cars are getting stuck in the mud. Our schools are in shambles. They are dilapidated. The chalkboards alone, you can't even easily write on it. It's a difficult situation for our country. Our leaders are taking their responsibility seriously. They are visionless. They are not looking for critical thinkers. They are not bold in their thinking. Their achievement is just to pay salaries, and that is even giving many of them hard time. Their achievement is just appoint city mayors and all over the place, and without even having money to fund some of these cities, they are appointing city mayors in some villages called cities. Now, another information. In September of 2023, the MCC signed a $60 million threshold program with Kenya to strengthen urban creativity in Nairobi. Hello, I'm talking about Kenya. What is the history between Kenya and the United States of America? MCC is a program set up by the U.S. government to help mainly poor countries meet some of their development needs. They have the guidelines and the benchmark you must meet to qualify. And Kenya did, and Kenya got $60 million to strengthen urban connectivity in Nairobi. Where are we? Do our leaders think that because America is this country whose past leaders somehow came to this place called Liberia today and did some things, and now we have the nation Liberia, we have this history, so all they have to do is one elected and go and show up and get a smiling story? And I mean, what is this pitiful story our leaders continue to tell? Oh, we are poor, we just come from war, the war devastated our infrastructures, and so on and so forth. And so what? And so what? The old story here has gotten old, is boring. It is not what attract investment in the country. Maybe some other institution might feel sorry for you and give you $2, $3, $5 million. What is it going to do for Liberia? So much investment capital languishing in banks, investment banks, so much goodwill possessed by powerful and rich nations. Engage them strategically. Engage them with programs, with projects, with plans. Put your house in order first. Tell them that you are serious and ready for business. Show them how you will do things differently. Establish your track record, first of all. Let me give you another unique example. There is this thing now, it has been actually called the nonprofit sector. People who are in nonprofit business. They have institutions that are into nonprofit. What they do is they come up with programs. And once they come up with their programs, then they go looking for humanitarians who have money to fund the programs. Is that one also difficult for people to understand? Now, there are foundations that are targeting, maybe meeting educational needs, for example. That person said, well, this is my foundation. I want to focus on education. And maybe they say, well, we'll be providing scholarship for schools or for students in Liberia, for example. And they start that. And then they write a grant or they write a proposal. And then they send it to humanitarians, philanthropists, and other institutions. So before they approve it, they will say, okay, when was your organization established? How long have you been operating? How many persons have you helped in the past? What are some of your financial reports? They will look at all of these things. How many projects have you implemented before? What were the outcome of the project? After verifying all of these things, the next thing you know, they approve this particular institution for $1 million, for example, to target schools that are in the leeward counties, for example. And if they implement and they made a report and they show that they have made tremendous success, the next time they apply, the donor might say, oh, you know what, this time we'll make it $2 million. Hello? I'm saying there is money always out there. The way to get the money is just defined. To get more money, come up with serious program. Build the history around that. And then you will get the money. Some of the money you will actually get for free. But our leaders just go and tell their story. Oh, you know, our country were in war, 14 years war, 15 years war, it devastated our economy. Are you the only nation? Rwanda was just in war too, 1994. Where there was a massive genocide that wiped away a little over 1 million of their citizens. Rwanda and its leaders, Rwanda leaders are not going around crying, oh, they killed 1 million, so, you know, we need. No. They are not telling pitiful stories. The government has programs that is implementing and carrying on and seeking funding in that respect. The last time I did my research, Volkswagen has an assembly plant in Rwanda, an African country. Volkswagen is building cars there. Our war started in 1989. Their war started in 1994. Their war cost more lives than ours. Their war ended, our war ended. They are making tremendous progress. Our leaders are still telling that same old story, how we fought war. What a shame and what a disgrace. How can the well-educated leaders and their handlers and their ministers can't really figure this simple thing out? It's simple. The idea is simple. To do it hard, but you were elected to do the hard work. Look, in the past year, the United States supported and helped close 547 new deals for a total estimate of $14.2 billion in new two-way trade and investment between the United States and African countries. Different deals have been closed in a total of 547. The total amount is $14.2 billion. How many deals have we closed? Even when Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who was the darling of the West, We could not even get significant money to build our airport. The Rabat International Airport that the US government used, my understanding is sometime during World War II. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, of all people, they told us we were disconnected, could not come up with a program, could not engage the US government for us to build a hub in West Africa. She could not make that argument to the US government. I work in the airline industry. From Atlanta to Liberia is less than 10 hours, or about that. From New York to Liberia, Rabat International Airport is less than 10 hours, or about that. Liberia is centrally located in West Africa. That Rabat International Airport that you see there, it has the longest runway in Africa. All the airports in Africa. Rabat International Airport, you see there, has the longest runway. That piece of information is enough for somebody to convince US government that, look, we are centrally located in West Africa. We want to be the hub. So this is what we want to do. We want an airport of this number of gates that will be the hub of West Africa. American citizens in 8 hours can be in Liberia from Atlanta or New York. Hello? This is what the amount we need. We have already contracted a U.S. institution or company that's going to build the airport. And then from the airport to Monrovia, this is how much, this is the money that we need. Once that airport is built, when Liberia or the Rabat International Airport becomes a hub in West Africa, where American airlines are flying, this is how much we are projected to raise in revenue, and we will be able to pay back the money. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, of all people, failed miserably to even make that argument. We took $53 million from Chinese to build a pitiful airport, and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf left power. After 12 years, the road to the airport was not even built. And some of you here want me to respect Ellen Johnson Sirleaf as though she is Jesus Christ. Never will I ever do that. When we had just come from war, her job was easy. Tell this sorrowful story of our war, how many people died, and how everything was destroyed. And then United Nations and US will give you a few millions here and there. Ellen left Liberia. Cars are still getting stuck in the mall. We don't have water in Monrovia. Like I said, safe drinking water that running consistently in Monrovia. I'm not talking about Liberia. Ellen left. We don't have reliable electricity in Liberia. I don't think our government came and went to the hydro and bombed it. If Ellen had done everything right and trained people to effectively run our LEC, I don't think we'll be in this place. So spare me that argument about, oh, we had just come from war, Liberia just come from the graveyard, and so on and so forth. Rwanda had just come from war. Look where Rwanda is, and look where we are. That way you know that this is doable and possible. But our leaders have not found that way. They have not. This is on them. This is on them. Again, President Boakai should not do business as usual with development partners. Telling the old story like we just come from war, give a few millions. It doesn't work. I'm in the United States. If I say, oh, I just come from a tiny country called Liberia, in Fort Worth, things are hard there, so I stand by the streets or by the roadside and say, hey, can you give me $5? Can you give me $5? That $5 are borrowing from people who are driving along the street will not get me money. It will not qualify me to be qualified for a mortgage of, say, $300,000 to get a house. Begging in that street for those crumbs will not make me to be qualified for a loan to get a car. What I need to do is find a job put my credit in order, make sure I have the ability, make sure that my debt to income ratio is fair enough so that I can be qualified for a car loan and also a home loan or mortgage. It's not difficult. You got to put in the time, I agree. But the idea is it foreign? The rules are there at the bank how to get qualified for loan. It's no secret. How to source funding for investment in your country. It's just out there. One of which is the MCC. The MCC has a benchmark. Do this, do they qualify for this thing? You get awarded some money. Borrowing is another way people get funding to invest in their life. Some people are taking loans to go to school. And after school, they get better job and they pay back and their life improve. Some people succeeded getting loan, getting a good job, paying back the loan, and today they are millionaires because after paying back the loan and getting a job and saving some money and starting a business, they became millionaires. Now they have homes. We're talking about some people who could not barely afford their apartments. Hello? The Biden-Harris administration is over-delivering on a commitment to invest $55 billion in Africa over the next 3 years. They are telling you that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris administration made a promise that they will spend $55 billion in 3 years period in Africa. Do our leaders even know this? Have they figured out a way out to get some of that money? Have they even asked how do they get some of this money? So there's money out there. And the things to do to get the money are also not secret. It is not a secret to get a loan from the bank. Assess the requirements and do what is needed. And finally, to show that this tremendous goodwill remains out there, let me show you what is even happening right now. So, just today, U.S. announced this $2 billion arms package for Ukraine. Hello? Just today, U.S. government announced this $2 billion arms package for Ukraine. $2 billion arms package for Ukraine. Just today, the U.S. government announced that. Just today also, the U.S. government has reached a deal to get Israel weapons valued at $1 billion just today. Just today. $2 billion for Ukraine, $1 billion for Israel. Just today. In one day. What does that tell you? Now, let me give you some numbers again. Horse foreign aid package. This is the U.S. now acting through its Congress. It says it's putting together a package for Ukraine, for Israel, and Taiwan. Ukraine, they set aside $61 billion. For Israel, they set aside $26 billion. And for Taiwan, $8 billion. That is the proposal. That is what they are thinking about doing. You see that kind of money? I know the situation different. Israel's at war, Ukraine's at war. They need all the help. I get it. But the U.S. government is not only investing or giving people money for war. I have listed and narrated programs and the amounts the U.S. government committing to the programs. So it's not only war. So it is because our leaders don't know how to engage the development partners. That is why we are suffering like the way we are doing now. Now, let me give you some information again. The US government, since the war started in Ukraine in 2022, sorry, the US government has spent 75 billion supporting Ukraine. When we had our war, how much money did they spend? I've seen the leader of Ukraine just coming, reaching out to the US government. This guy is not giving them rest. What are our leaders doing? So much money out there. And we have the need for the money. The money they're giving to Israel, Israel has the need. People can see it, but they communicated that. Ukraine has the need for that money. Ukraine communicated that. In some instances, some of these countries really don't have the need, but they have the strategy. They have programs. Let's look at the one with Taiwan. As some of you are aware, during Charles Taylor time, Taiwan, a tiny country, was supplying Liberia with butter rice. They call it that time. Taiwan was giving free butter rice. Taiwan was supplying Liberia with rice. And mainland China is what the Chancellor administration were doing business. Were doing business with Chancellor government were doing business with Taiwan. Mainland China did not like that because mainland China, from what I continue to read, who want to annex or for Taiwan to be part of it. And the Taiwanese people want to be independent. They want to be an independent nation. The U.S. government is doing business with the Chinese government. And China is getting powerful economically. If you don't know, most of the chips that we use in our cell phones, our computers, and all that, they build them in Taiwan. All the cell phones you see, your iPhone, your desk phone, your computer chip, and all, most of those things, those chips are built in Taiwan. Taiwan is incredibly self-sufficient economically. That Taiwan does not need money from the U.S. government. No, it doesn't. But here is the U.S. government giving Taiwan $8 billion. The obvious reason is U.S. does not want China to be too powerful. But that's for another story, or another day, or it's another debate, and so forth. The point I'm making here with this is development partners. Our emphasis here is on the U.S. government. There is so much money. There's a tremendous goodwill in America for investment capital that we as a nation, through our leaders, can tap into. But we must put our house in order. We must ensure that we are credit-worthy. To become credit-worthy, our institutions should be effective. We need to fight corruption. We need to train people. We need to come up with programs, sell those programs, communicate what the programs will do for us as a people. If we do these things, it is easy for U.S. government to give Liberia $2 billion. Someone said the other day, if we get $2 billion, we'll connect all our counties by roads. I'm not an engineer, but I don't believe it. I really don't believe it. But that's what the person said. Maybe the person looked up something before saying that. So let's say that is true, that we need $2 billion to connect all our counties by paved roads. You think the U.S. government can give it? The U.S. government has spent over $75 billion from 2022 to 2024 in 2 years period on Ukraine alone. And this is the U.S. government today that has committed additional $2 billion. I'm not talking about Israel. Israel is just like, Israel uses America like a ATM machine. America is giving billions to Israel every time. I know the people who are in this, global affairs issue, the internationalists, they will tell you the rational war is interest, 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 interest. No, the U.S. government does not give money only on interest. The U.S. government fund programs to improve human conditions in countries like Africa. And I've listed most of these programs here and the amounts they've committed so far. So it's not only about interest. It is not only about, how strategic is this country to the U.S. before the U.S. commit money. Because the U.S. government commits money. Anyway, I will conclude. President Boakai should not do business as usual with development partners. They're writing boring old story and meaningless story that we fought war, we devastated everything. And so give her money, give her money. It is a complete old man beggar style of engaging development partners. It's been over 20 years now since the war ended. It has not helped us. Cars are getting stuck in the mud. We cannot even provide electricity in Morovia. Our schools are dilapidated. We don't even have reliable internet. We need to invest in these critical infrastructures to develop our country. Money is out there. We can get the money with programs, with plans, and if we tell a new story for Liberia development story, Liberia economic empowerment story, investing into the human capital of Liberia. Now, even our sectors that we have, let's say the mineral sector, for example, we have to find a way. Manufacturing is another thing. We cannot be taking all our raw materials out of this place. It is foolish to do so. That's just why it is. It is just foolish. And we cannot be doing the same thing over and over and thinking that we're going to move forward. The approach that we use all along, I know there is this argument, some people say, well, the Liberia government is using all of the above approach, meaning you're begging for money and then you're raising small money yourself. I mean, where are we? How have we been begging? Someone said, well, it's better to beg than to steal. Really? You, as a father, can rely on begging to support your family, keep your children in school, pay your family's house, get your family transportation, make sure that you get all the services you need, like water and all that. You think you can rely on begging? We have been on this old man beggar approach to engaging our development partners, and we still have deficit chronically in terms of our infrastructure. It is hard time. Our leaders open their brains and get this thing in their skull and do what is necessary. The foolishness of minimalism will not get us anywhere. I am not a Liberian leader. I am only a commentator. I represent an institution that cares about the development of Liberia, that cares about improving the material conditions of our people, holding our leaders accountable so that they can succeed. That is the institution I represent. We see that it is possible, for others have done it. Rwanda has done it and is doing it. Ghana has done it and is doing it. Ivory Coast, if you look at what the U.S. government is even doing in Ivory Coast, you will not believe it. This is a French-speaking country. And there's so much that the U.S. is doing now. In fact, there is something they call the African Command. It is spearheaded by the U.S. government. It's a military operation. I think it's based in Senegal. It's not in Liberia. Look at our history. Why Senegal? You think they love the Senegalese more than us? There's something they might be doing that we're not doing. So it is not about who you know. It is what you do. Putting your horse in order, looking up the requirements, and making sure you fulfill the requirements, and then you will get what you need. And when you do, you will get more. For even it is written in the Bible that if you do good, more will be given to you. Anyway, I rest my case. Folks, that will do it for this edition of the Hour of Politics. My name is Anson Sie, and I brought you yet another edition, an analytical edition, by the way, as always here on the Hour of Politics with me. The network remains focused on Liberia, and we will keep the focus on this nation until our leaders get it right. We must get it right. Not doing so is not the way to go. We are good people who have suffered too much. We deserve better. Someone sent Dennis a message, and the person is visiting Liberia. The person said, I left this country several years ago, and I came back. Is that nothing has changed? Dennis was telling me about the message that this person said they have to carry buckets to take bath. Buckets with water in it. I did that. You did that. That's what they are doing today in Liberia. Many, many years later, when technology has advanced, when information has advanced, when you can sit right here on your phone and get to know what's going around the world, Liberians are still bathing in buckets. There are still bathrooms behind your house. There are still toilets behind the rabbit. They put a little lapper or rice bag, they tear it and put it there. And that's where people go to defecate, and some people go to take bath. It is still happening in our Liberia. And those things don't bother our leaders when they get in power. Once they get in that presidential motorcade, when that lawmaker gets his car, every 3 years they get a brand new car, life is good. It's like to hell with everybody else. Not even the country they represent. Well, I'll pay school fee, I'm paying 2 minutes. I mean, is that your responsibility to pay school fees? And that is the leadership? You think you can provide for us to move forward? You think that has not been done before and we are where we are? New administration take over, and then you see they are painting the building, they are cutting grass. Don't we have people to be cutting the grass? And they want us to cheer them and congratulate them that this is the change that the people voted for. This foolishness must stop. Our leaders must get serious. On that note, the song that closes the broadcast remains, We Are All Liberians. Enjoy the song, We Are All Liberians, and watch out for our evening edition today with some group of Liberians, and we'll be discussing some current issues today. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you, and bye-bye.
We are Liberians.